Welcome. So I've been wanting to do a list like this for quite a while, but never found the time to do it. Just for your information, this is not a list to brag or boast about expensive games that I own. First of all, there are collectors that have much more impressive collections than I have with way more expensive stuff. For me, it's just interesting to see how a list like this might change in maybe, let's say, 6 months or a year when we might do another list like this to see how things change. So the prices are based on price charting as of today, which is the 19th of April 2024. So the first game on the list is a sealed copy of Black Buccaneer for the PS2, which goes for around €100. Action adventure game that has Tomb Raider and Prince of Persia style environmental puzzles. You had real-time sword fighting, and you can attack enemies with voodoo powers because of a magic amulet that you found. Second game on the list is a sealed copy of Persona 4 Golden for the PS4, which goes around €110. Correction, that is the Switch version. The PlayStation 4 version goes around €165. In this game you play a high school student who moved into the countryside from the city, and during his stay he becomes involved in investigating mysterious murders with a group of friends while harnessing the power to summon physical manifestations known as persona. Each persona possesses its own skills as well as strengths and weaknesses to certain attributes, and as personas gain experience from battle and level up, that persona can learn new skills which include offensive or support abilities used in battle. Game number 3, Hunting Ground for the PlayStation 2, which goes around €120. And the story follows Fiona Belly, a young woman who wakes up in a dungeon of a castle after being involved in a car accident. She quickly befriends a white shepherd, Huey, and begins to explore the castle with his aid to seek a means of escape and unravel the mysteries of it and its inhabitants. So the player controls Fiona as she explores the environment, evades and hides from enemy pursuers, and occasionally fights against the castle's inhabitants. Sometimes Fiona will panic when in danger, in which case she begins to run on her own and the player loses some control. Huey, the dog, is a central part to the gameplay and accompanies Fiona throughout the game. The game shares many similarities with Capcom's earlier survival horror title Clock Tower and has been described as a spiritual successor to the Clock Tower series. Game number 4, a sealed copy of Thousand Land, a Japanese game for the original Xbox, which goes around €125. So this Japan-only game for the original Xbox can be best described as a combat map creation simulation game, and the player's goal is to defeat all challenges while creating the best GeoSlate map possible. You play one of 1,000 challenges on .geo, a virtual network, build your own map and then challenge other .geo users to a real-time battle. The winner of the battle gets a reward, which can then be used to buy new items to arrange and remodel on their GeoSlate. The overall goal is creating the perfect map and climbing the rankings till you're number 1. Game number 5 is a bit of a big box, and it's the Dead or Alive Extreme 3 Venus Collector's Edition for the PlayStation Vita. So Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is a sports video game in the Dead or Alive series developed by Team Ninja and is the second sequel to the beach volleyball spin-off title. It features multiple gameplay modes, which includes minigames such as beach volleyball and butt battle. Game modes include beach flag, in which characters will compete in a race to retrieve a flag, and rock climbing. There are also new modes like girl mode, where the player can take direct control of the girl they have selected, and owner mode, where the player becomes an owner of another island. The player is also able to initiate various activities with the girls, such as dating. So apart from the game, this collector's edition includes 9 extra outfits, a 48-page photo book, some playing cards and a 3D mousepad. Game number 6, Blood Will Tell for the PS2, which goes around €160. Based on the Japanese manga series Dororo, it concerns a hero named Yakimaru, who has had much of his body stolen by 48 fiends and has prosthetic replacements. Along with his ally, the thief Dororo, Yakimaru must defeat all 48 fiends to get his limbs back. Game number 7, the Final Fantasy VII Remake Deluxe Edition for the PlayStation 4, which goes around €175. So I probably don't have to tell a lot about this game. It's a very popular game. It's an action role-playing game by Square Enix, released for the PlayStation 4 in 2020, and is set in the dystopian cyberpunk metropolis of Midgar. Players control the mercenary Cloud Strife. He joins Avalanche, an eco-terrorist group trying to stop the powerful mega-corporation Shinra from using the planet's life essence as an energy source, and the gameplay combines real-time action with role-playing elements. The game was one of the fastest selling PlayStation 4 games of all time, selling more than 3.5 million copies in only 3 days and more than 7 million in the first month. The deluxe edition includes a steelbook with Sephiroth, a hardback art book, a mini soundtrack CD and a DLC summon materia Cactuar. Game number 8, a sealed copy of Siren Blood Curse for the PlayStation 3, which goes around €180. A survival horror stealth game developed by Project Siren and is the third and final installment in the Siren series. The main gameplay of Blood Curse generally involves controlling a player character from a third-person perspective. The player must complete missions to progress the story while evading the Shibito, the game's main enemies. The series' signature Sidejack ability operates in an automated split-screen mode, allowing the player to see through the eyes of others while continuing to play normally. Sidejacking is imperative to surviving the game. The player can only discover clues to their next goal or target through this ability. Game number 9, a sealed copy of Manhunt 2 for the PlayStation 2, which goes around €195. So Manhunt 2 is a stealth game developed by Rockstar Games, famous for Red Dead Redemption and GTA. The game follows Daniel Lamb, a mental patient suffering from amnesia as he tries to uncover his identity, and Leo Casper, a sociopathic assassin who guides Daniel in his journey. As with the original game, the primary gameplay mechanic is stealth execution, whereby the player character must approach an enemy from behind, undetected, and kill them. There are 3 levels of execution, with each level progressively more violent and graphic than the last level, which also caused this game to get a lot of controversy, which caused the game to be censored or even banned in some countries. Game number 10, Dragon Ball Z 2V for the PlayStation 2, which goes around €230. So I did a video on this game not too long ago, but in essence it's a limited edition version of Dragon Ball Z 2, which in the West is known as Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, which is called Dragon Ball Z 2V, where the V is standing for V-Jump, as V-Jump announced only 2,000 lucky readers would receive this game. Of which the most talked about feature was the ability to use Cooler as an alternate costume for Frieza. Another interesting feature was the 100% completion at the start. All capsules, characters and stages are unlocked from the beginning. And then the final game of the list, game number 11, Rule of Rose for the PlayStation 2, which goes around €460. So similar to Haunting Ground that we talked about earlier in this list, Rule of Rose is a survival horror video game developed by Punchline for the PlayStation 2. The plot revolves around a 19-year-old woman named Jennifer who becomes trapped in a world ruled by young girls who have established a class hierarchy called the Red Crayon Aristocrats. The team drew inspiration from the classic Brothers Grimm fairy tales for the narrative and the Silent Hill series for graphics and art style. So Rule of Rose was the subject of a moral panic in Europe prior to its publication, based on rumors of its alleged content. Rumors range from erotic themes to obscene brutality, and various European authorities condemned the game and called for its banning. The game was cancelled in the United Kingdom, despite the Video Standards Council calling the complaints nonsense. So yeah, that was my list of most expensive games that I own, and I'm curious to see how the list will look in 6 months or in a year when we do another list. Until next time, bye bye.